Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I am Winston Chester without my cap. I'm welcome to the show. And what happened this morning, you may have done this before. I just got up and got down here at the studio and realized I didn't have a cap. I looked around. I did have a pink one, but Jeff and I decided between the red snapper and my red, white, and blue shirt, it didn't look all that good. So here you have the natural Winston Chester, and this is just the way I am most of the time. I wear a cap outdoors a lot, but indoors I usually don't unless it's on the show. So here we go. Happy Memorial Day. Hope you get the day start off great. And we all know how special Memorial Day is. Of course, a lot of festivities throughout the country, but in reality, what we do is honor our fallen brothers and sisters from America, and all the wars we've had. It's not Veterans Day, so don't go tell a veteran Happy Memorial Day. These were the ones who was passed on and giving their life and making the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom of America. So we appreciate that. A lot of these cemetery sites have little flags in them and all. It's always heartwarming to see that. And all of our families, I promise you, throughout somewhere in your family, you're going to find someone in all of the battles and wars we've had who's really sacrificed a lot. So with that being said, let's move on with our weather, brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin Highway 77. It's going to be a high today of 88 and low of 74, and the water temperature stays at 82 degrees. Now every Monday when I take a look at our moon phase, it's going to be a great week in our moon phase. We're looking at actually today is the last Monday of the month, the 25th, and it is building up. And we're getting ready to get a full moon now. We actually are going to have that full moon probably next week sometime. So this weekend is going to be close to what I refer to it over and over again, what my dad always loved, the 3 or 4 days before the full moon of May. So it's going to be happening this weekend. So there's going to be a lot of folks fishing, and I hope the weather is going to be good. Okay, marine forecast. Let's look at our tide chart first of all by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery, and their motto is "When Carrying Counts." Today is the 25th. You can see we started some neap tides last week with the super tides we had, and all week long we'll be in those neap tides high at 12:17 right in the middle of the day. It'll be a little high tide, but it's only like a 0.8 foot movement there. And then the marine forecast will be coming out of southeast at 14. It's blown all weekend, and it's been pretty rough. It's been a southeast wind that's doing it, but it's going to switch later to east-southeast. Okay? That takes care of our weather. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Some people ask me, how in the world can you forget a cap? Well, there's a lot going on in my life right now, and I guess I just didn't. I had my mind on so many other things this morning. I just forgot my cap. So first time it's ever happened. So here we go. Let's look at some pictures. This is I want to talk about. I love showing all kind of pictures. The vast majority of them are fishing game, but I like some human interest pictures too. We've talked, Jeff Peck. He helps run our show. He's on the cameras. He's on the board over here. He's putting a show on YouTube. Just does a tremendous job on Panhandle Outdoors. We couldn't do it with Jeff. Jeff does all the work, and Gail. Okay, and I just sit here and run my mouth. But his son Dominic Dominic and some of his friends recently went down to Orlando for the state junior Special Olympics, and they did a great job. I got a picture here of Dominic. Here he is right here. First of all, when I saw the picture, I hadn't seen him in a while. He's really grown up now, but he's holding the bronze, the long jump. Okay, got third place in long jump. Also ran in 200 and got fourth place. So congratulations, Dominic. Real proud of you. And here's a little group picture of some of his buddies. Now, aren't they having a good time? Look at them. They're as happy as they can be down in Orlando at the what stadium was that at? Wide World of Sports down there. So congratulations to all those young folks, and we're real proud of y'all. Okay, we'll move on to some other pictures. Let me see what I can pull up now. I've got a couple of them. I do have a nice bass here. Zeb Schofield out of Deer Point Lake caught a nice one the other afternoon. Good job, Zeb Schofield. He's got a beard now. I haven't seen him with a beard. He looks different. Okay, now for you folks that have everything, this is an aquarium bed. Now, if you still got fish is on your mind 24 hours a day, you just got to have this, an aquarium right above your bed, okay? I'm sure it won't cost too much. And I had another picture I want to show y'all. One of the things we're going to do, well, let's go ahead and talk about, I did want to talk about mayflies and the mayfly hatch. We're smack dab in the middle of it. Folks are fly fishing up and down the river. They get up in these little sloughs and all, but often people don't understand about mayflies. It's just an insect that has a short life cycle. Here's a picture of one here, and they're distributed. They're all over the United States, and a lot of different species of them. And what they'll do, they'll go from the nymph stage, and the females will. What happens? The males will start swarming, and then the females will fly into them, and they'll mate, and then the males will land on a tree and on land, but the females fall back in the water, and that's usually when the brim and all are just waiting there. And this is the time of year all this is happening. It's an interesting process at what's going on, but the big thing is trying to match up your fly to what fits. And really, these BB flies down there are excellent. They're put together by a guy down in Weewalk. Okay. Now, I also have I want to show you. I got a flyer fish. We got a state record. I'm gonna read you this email put out by the FWC. Okay. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, of course. Twyla Gates from Marianna established a new Florida freshwater fishing record with FWC this month. Her catch of a 1 pound, 5.6 ounce flyer, okay, this is a brim, on May 9th from the Jackson County Pond beat the old record of 1.24 pounds. It had a total length of 12 inches and a girth of 11.8 inches. The previous state record came from Lake Ammonia near Tallahassee, but this was over in Jackson County. Now, if it's submitted to the International Fish and Game Association, you know, we've had them on the show before and been down there right outside of Miami. If it's submitted, it should hold up to become a new world record. Now, people say, what does a flyer look like? And there's all brim to most of us, or sunfish and all. Here's a picture of it. It just has these really large dorsal fins. See how it sort of comes in the back like that? That's how a flyer looks. Now, Gates, here's her background. I love this background. Gates has been fishing with her dad since she was a little girl, and has passed her love of the outdoors on to her son, Jansen, who's age 15. On the Saturday before Mother's Day, she was fishing from a John boat, okay, with her son and his friend William Henson at a 15-acre cypress pond. And these flyers really like areas like that, sort of brackish water or dark water and all, okay. She caught the flyer on a Shakespeare micro spin. That's that little small outfit, and a 6-pound line. She used a white grub beetle spin. Nothing new about that, nothing fancy about that little beetle spin. Been around forever, been one of the best lures you can ever use. Caught it around 4:30 p.m. She thought it was a record, so he looked it up online and they called the regional office, and that's when Chris Paxton went over there, and she found it was in a heavily vegetated pond. They like to hang all that cover and all. It also, in addition, the two boys caught two 10-pound bass. So that was one fine fishing trip right there. So congratulations on that. And the flyer, here's another picture of it here. It's just a sunfish, and part of the sunfish family. You can see it right there. So hers weighed was actually 12 inches long. That is huge. And here's the distribution map where they're found across America. They're all through in basically the southeast and then up along the Mississippi River system. So up in some of that really muddy water and everything. Okay. Now let's go ahead and why don't we go ahead and get ready to take our break? We're going to come back and do some more stuff. Okay. All right, welcome back. There was one other picture I wanted to show you. Now, this is for all you hunters that have friends who don't like to hunt and all. They still can mount their big, if they're vegetarians, they still can have a vegetarian wall mount. Let's go get them some twigs and all, and then put them up, and they can make them big as they want to. Okay? Hope you enjoyed that. We're going to talk about king mackerel fishing, because we're starting off, summer is just wonderful king mackerel fishing. If you ever went king mackerel fishing, it's an exciting time, because what they're so strong at, when they make those runs, I mean, they're one of those fish that just, when you catch them and hook them all of a sudden, they'll take off and run. They're strong fish. And there are a lot of them out there. In fact, I looked up the availability, looking on this picture here. You can see the king mackerel conservation as far as trying to conserve them, as far as extinct, that little chart on the bottom, on the far left, that'd be extinct, of course, but on the far right, they're very of least concern of not having enough king mackerel, because they're just a lot of them out there, and a lot of fun. Most people around here really have a lot of fun king mackerel fishing. In fact, they actually have a lot of our tournaments. Mexico Beach, and of course that big one down at Sea Quarters, that's the best one around. It's just an awesome tournament, and it's usually around the first weekend there in August. I'd go, if I were you, I'd go and put it on the calendar and promise yourself you're going to fish it, because that money goes to leukemia research, and we talk about it all the time, but I'm just a wonderful time we all have down there. And I promise you, we won it one year, and I'll show you where to go. I'll show you where we caught that winning mackerel. But with that being said now, as far as edibility, I don't eat the king mackerel. I have, most of my friends do. I mean, it's okay. I've eaten it before. One of the drawbacks, the bigger the fish, of course, is higher level of mercury, and that's just with any large fish in our ocean system and all. But the king mackerel is spread all the way around, and they're fun to catch. There's different ways to catch them. We caught them trolling. Of course, we caught them in free lining. That year we won that big tournament, we were free lining. And one of the advantages I have on this show is when I get to go to workshops and conferences and different presentations by all kind of different people, and usually these are experts and all. And I was over in Mobile and had an opportunity to listen to probably one of the top. Well, he was the top money winner the year I talked to him of the SKA, which is the Southern Kingfish Association. That's a professional king mackerel fishermen. They fish Atlantic coast, mainly it's Atlantic coast, and one over in Sarasota. And it's just it's a tour just like the PGA, like the golf tour and all. And we don't have a lot of it around here, but these guys are good. So I did an interview with David Workman Jr. David did a little presentation, so I got up with him after the presentation and just talked. Now, one of the things we as outdoorsmen, and especially fishermen, we're always, if we have an open mind, we always want to learn and get better. Even as long as I fish, I still want to try to learn something else and try a new lure, try a new tactic and all, and I just have that open mind about it. I never thought I knew everything. So when I get around somebody like a David Workman, who's an expert, or some of these guys in their fields, I love talking to them and just listening and getting tips and advice from them. And it's really, really neat to do this. So I got an interview coming up with David, and David's from Jacksonville. He grew up, and as a young man, he just got really hooked on catching king mackerel. So we're going to do this interview. Listen, especially toward the end, I asked him a couple of tips on how to catch those really big kings, because like he said, they didn't get big by being dumb, and it makes a lot of sense, some of the things he says. So let's go ahead and run this little interview with David Workman. Hi, folks. Panhandle Outdoors Day. We're glad to have our guest. This is Dave Workman Jr. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
This guy's like a rock star legend with all the fishermen. He's 3 times champion of the Southern Kingfish Association. Champion 3 times. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, you originally you fish out of Jacksonville area, but you fish all over, of course. And and you also tell us some other things you do.
Well, I'm professional kingfish. Travel 7 states for kingfishing. I have a couple tackle stores called Strike Zone Fishing, one in Jacksonville and one in Melbourne. We have a line of lures from Boone Bait out of Winter Park, which we do all the kingfish lures and offshore trolling lures, which you'll see most of your stores around your area and around the country. And I was raised on fishing. Started out at 12 years old as a custom rod builder, and then started making lures at 18, and got the kingfish bug in the early 80s. And I guess in 1986, the Greater Jacksonville tournament, which started over there, actually came in 2nd place in high school. Won a Chevy truck. Never forget, it was a yellow Chevy truck.
Right.
I was on top of the world. Probably won $30,000 in 1986, and got the kingfish bug there and started fishing. And joined the Southern Kingfish Association in '92, and been kingfishing ever since. And actually. Make a living at what I love doing.
Boy, you're a fortunate man. That's a great background. Now, our viewers, when I interview guys like you, I always try to get some secret tips or something for our viewers, because we have a good king migration coming through the Panhandle area. What are some basic things and good tips you can give our viewers?
Well, one of the main things is have the right tackle.
Okay.
And I use especially for using the hardtails, I use a 4/0 single hook up in the nose and a number 2 treble hook in the back. But one of the main things that I believe in is finding the best concentration of bait and looking for water clarity. You know, a lot of people want to fish in too clear water, they want to fish in too dirty water, and really depending on whether you're fishing on structure or fishing around an oil rig is finding the right water color, which to me is more of an emerald green for kingfishing.
Okay.
And then when it gets down to bait presentation, making sure that I got a lively bait, my rigs are made right, and the presentation is the best out in the spread, you know, to maximize my strike potential.
What about, do you use it in downriggers, anything like this? Do you do any kind of fishing that way, or do you
Sure.
mainly trolling?
Sure.
What kind of trolling speed do you try to go?
On using like hardtails
Yeah.
and you know, dead ribbon fish on the downriggers, I tell people I'm slow trolling, but means just in gear. You know, you need to go fast enough to move forward, and fast enough to make sure that your live baits don't swim under the boat, but not too fast where you're dragging your baits and then drowning them. So there's kind of, you know, I say slow troll means just in gear so you can move forward.
Okay. All right. What about what's the biggest king you ever caught?
I've had them in the 60 pounds. The biggest ones I've caught a 58 pounder at 2 different tournaments.
Wow.
Tournaments, and it's usually hard to catch the big kings in the tournaments, as you would think.
Are you always going to catch a big king on a lighter rig? Is that right?
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of times they don't get that big because they're dumb.
Yeah.
And a lot of times fishing the clear water, you know, the smaller hook, smaller wire, you'll seem to get more bites. But, you know, it just depends on the area I'm fishing and how hungry the fish are as far as the size hooks and the leader wire that I use.
Very good. Dave, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed. We got some good advice from that. Dave is an expert in the field and he catches some really big ones. And a similar situation, like I said, when we caught that really big one, we did the same thing. We sort of anchored out a little bit in free line. It was nice and quiet. We were around that structure, and we knew the big ones were out there. And like you said, you want that bait to be lively. You don't want the bait just sort of sitting there and all that. You're going to catch some stuff with sort of wounded bait, but if you get that bait really alive and dancing around, they're going to jump on it. So I would encourage you to try king mackerel fishing here in Panhandle. Is excellent. You can go right outside the pass here in Panama City, out of Destin Pass, out of Apalachicola. The kings are all out there, and out from Dog Island. Just all kind of a lot of activity, and they're really fun to catch. Like I said, they make those runs, and they're really strong. Okay, let's take a look at our fish and game forecast today, brought to us by Mark Coward of Edgewater Beach Realty. Mark's number is 832-6000. And we're looking at our time this morning from 6:41 to 8:41. Excellent time there tonight, 7:03 to 9:03. Now, while we're talking about fishing and all, we just showed you a state record freshwater fish, and we talked about that on that first segment. Then the middle segment, we talked about catching the king mackerel and all. So we were concentrating a lot on fishing and all. And so one of the things I'm talking about, let's go inshore now, and talking about. And I've shown this before, but I have a lot of new people watch the show. Want to just know some basic things on fishing and the popping cork. I'm just got this example here. A lot of folks here over in Choctawhatchee Bay and East Bay and all, we don't fish a lot with a popping cork. But over there in St. Joe Bay and especially Apalachicola Bay, they fish a lot. And then right on south of Apalachicola Bay, I'm going to show you. Well, I don't have the map up, but the area around the Big Bend and all. Okay. Appalachia Bay, down in that area, the guides, I've talked to those guides, and the popping cork, they really use it a lot. And what it does, you know, it just, you hear that sound, and it makes a noise. And so you have the popping cork on top, then you have a leader, and of course this is a wire leader. I don't use this, it's been still in new shape and all, but if you got a lot of fish cutting you off and all, and then of course, what they're doing in St. Joe Bay now on the popping cork, they're putting electric chicken color, okay? A little swim bait, electric chicken. And I thought I had one in my tackle box. I couldn't find it, but that's what's really hot now. You can always tell what's hot when you go to a place like Blue Water, and I love going in Blue Water. They have such a great selection, and I sort of check out what I can look on the where all the lures on the you know, where they're on demonstration. Like this is where sticking out from the wall. You have plug, and you look at one that's almost empty. That's what they're biting, even before you talk to anybody. And that old electric chicken color is gone, so they order some more. So that tells you real quick. And plus, I talked to the guys there, and they say, yeah, they're tearing them up on that electric chicken. So that's your fishing tip for the day, not just on the video for the king mackerel, but also on fishing. This also, here's another. This is called a Cajun thunder, and you hear this. You hear that sound? It makes a sound too. And again, in Louisiana water is similar to the water down in Apalachicola Bay. It's you know, a little muddy and all, and the fish go a lot by the sound instead of the side of the bait. So that's the theory behind this. And all the guides over there love using this, and also down a little bit south of us. We don't use them that much up here. Some of the guys do on the popping cork. Okay. Now let's go from catching speckled trout and redfish. I'll pull this out. I really, this is not my tackle box. This is just an old box of mine. You see about I wrote pompano on it. And what I was going to tell you, I try to have an extra supply I have a tackle box full of stuff, but I also have some extra, so when I go places, I can sort of pull out and make sure I don't have to run by a tackle store. I basically have my own little tackle store, Gail says, and I probably do. So when I open it up, all this is just focusing on catching pompano. And I didn't realize I had so much. But I'm just going to show you some of the things I have. One of the first things to put out, I got a good selection of fish bites, okay? And that's the color we talked about, the fish bites, and now I'm getting good reports from everybody using this, and I'm glad y'all are using it and glad you're catching pompano. It's been a great run on pompano on the spring run. Now, what that tells you, if the pompano was really good here in the spring, they're going to be good in the summer because it's just a direct reflection of the number of fish coming through. Some of those fish are going to hang around, and some of them will even spawn in this area, okay? So I have that color there, okay? I have the tackle, the terminal tackle here, and I have all different kinds here, okay? We talked about that before. I like the 2-hook rig. They definitely don't use, and then they got colors on them and all, and I think that adds a lot to it. And then I have some without colors. Going to do some, you know, I'm going to bring, okay, then just the regular one, really not much at all on this, okay. Then I have some more, that's some more fish bites. The guy's son gave me this, and I use this, I gave some of this to my students to use, okay. Then a lot more tackle, some more green bait, and a Silly Willy. This is, I don't use, I'm running out of time. I got a lot more to show y'all, but I'm running out of time. And we'll finish it up in some weights and everything. So have you that's an extra selection of stuff. You have a great Memorial Day. You be careful now. This is the official beginning of summer, so a lot of folks are going to be on the water today, so be careful out there. But you have a great day. Do some fun stuff in the outdoors, and always do something good for your fellow man, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.